Dirty little liars like you make me sick. You people steal everything. Flight attendant Brenda Matthews snatched the boarding pass from 8-year-old Amara Johnson's trembling hands. She held it high, making sure everyone could see, then slowly tore it into tiny pieces. The fragments fluttered down like snow. Fake tickets, fake tears, fake everything. Brenda's voice carried across the gate. "And where's your so-called father? Probably ran off like they all do." Dr. Kendrick Johnson froze at the check-in counter 20 feet away. His daughter's tears hit him like bullets. "Security! We have scammers here!" 12 phones rose in unison. The live stream counter exploded. American Airlines Flight 447. Departure, 28 minutes. One assumption. One mistake. One father who owned 12% of the airline watched his child get destroyed. Have you ever watched power destroy innocence, not knowing that innocence held the real power all along? Flight departure, 26 minutes remaining. The digital countdown on Gate B7's monitor pulsed red. Dr. Kendrick Johnson dropped his medical equipment bag and sprinted toward his daughter, his sneakers squeaking against polished terminal floors. "Amara?" His voice cracked across the gate area. Brenda Matthews spun around, her lips curling into a smirk. "Oh, look who finally showed up. Let me guess, another fake ticket?" Kendrick reached his daughter and knelt beside her, gathering the torn boarding pass pieces. His hands shook as he tried to fit them together like a jigsaw puzzle. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" "Daddy, she said we're liars." Amara's voice was barely a whisper. Jenny Rodriguez, passenger in seat 12C, had been recording since the first torn piece hit the floor. Her Instagram live stream showed 3,247 views and climbing. Comments flooded the screen faster than she could read them. "This is disgusting! Someone help that baby! Where's the manager? I'm calling American Airlines!" Flight departure. 24 minutes remaining. Gate agent Patricia Wilson emerged from behind her counter, clipboard in hand. Her eyes swept over Kendrick's faded jeans and plain gray polo shirt. No designer labels, no expensive watch, no obvious signs of wealth. "Sir, I'm going to need to see identification and proof of purchase for both tickets." Kendrick stood slowly, his jaw tightening. Of course. He pulled out his wallet, a simple black leather fold, nothing fancy. His driver's license showed the same last name as the tickets. Patricia examined the documents with theatrical precision, holding them up to the light as if checking for watermarks. "These could be forged. Happens all the time with—" She paused, her eyes flicking between father and daughter. "With certain types of passengers." The words hung in the air like poison gas. "Certain types?" Kendrick's voice remained calm, but his knuckles whitened around Amara's hand. Flight departure. 22 minutes remaining. Brenda stepped closer, emboldened by Patricia's support. "Look, we've seen this scam before. Single father, sick kid, first-class tickets they clearly can't afford. It's textbook fraud." "My daughter has sickle cell anemia," Kendrick said quietly. "We're flying to Atlanta Children's Hospital for treatment." "A convenient excuse." Brenda's eyes narrowed. "Where's the paperwork? Real patients have real documentation." Amara tugged on her father's shirt. "Daddy, my chest hurts." Kendrick immediately dropped to her level, checking her breathing. Her lips had a slight blue tinge, the beginning of a crisis. His medical training kicked in as he reached for her emergency inhaler. "She needs to sit down, now." "She needs to leave." Brenda blocked the boarding gate with her body. "Both of you." Flight departure, 20 minutes remaining. The crowd was growing. Passengers from nearby gates had wandered over, drawn by the commotion. Jenny's live stream had reached 8,500 viewers. Someone had started the hashtag #AmericansAgainstDiscrimination. "This is 2025, not 1955, shouted an elderly white woman from the crowd. "Just let them on the plane," added a businessman in an expensive suit. But Patricia and Brenda stood their ground. They'd seen their type before, trying to game the system with sob stories and fake emergencies. Security Officer James Park arrived, his radio crackling with static. "What seems to be the problem here?" "Fraudulent tickets," Patricia announced loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Father-daughter team classic con." Officer Park looked down at Amara, who was now sitting on the floor, struggling to breathe properly. Something didn't feel right about this situation, but airline personnel had authority in these matters. Sir, I'm going to need you to come with me while we sort this out. Flight departure, 18 minutes remaining. Kendrick's phone buzzed. A text from his assistant. Board meeting moved to 3 p.m. Emergency vote on quarterly projections. He deleted it without responding. Right now, nothing mattered except his daughter. Please, he said to Officer Park. Look at her. She's having a medical episode. The stress is triggering her condition. Amara's breathing was becoming more labored. Her sickle cell disease meant that stress, dehydration, or altitude changes could trigger a painful crisis. The humiliation and anxiety were doing exactly what Kendrick had feared. Daddy, she whispered. I'm here, Princess. Just breathe with me. But Brenda wasn't finished. Oh, how touching. The acting lessons really paid off, didn't they? Flight departure, 16 minutes remaining. Jenny's live stream exploded. The viewer count hit 12,000. Screenshots were being shared across Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok faster than the platforms could track them. Someone had pulled up American Airlines customer service number and was posting it in the comments. Others were tagging news outlets and civil rights organizations. The hashtag #GroundThePlane started trending. Patricia noticed the crowd's growing hostility and doubled down. People, please return to your gates. This is a routine security matter. Routine? A young black woman pushed forward. Y'all would never treat a white family like this. This isn't about race, Brenda snapped. This is about fraud prevention. Flight departure, 14 minutes remaining. Kendrick carefully helped Amara to her feet. In her small hand, she clutched something that caught the light. A medical alert bracelet with custom engraving. Most people wouldn't think to look closely at a child's medical jewelry. Daddy, can I call Grandma Rose? Amara's voice was weak but determined. Not right now, sweetheart. But Amara was already reaching into her small purple backpack, pulling out her phone. It wasn't a cheap device. It was the latest iPhone with a custom case that looked expensive up close. She scrolled through her contacts with the practiced ease of a child who'd grown up with technology. Her finger paused over one entry. Emergency, Dad's office. Flight departure, 12 minutes remaining. The boarding announcement echoed through the gate area. American Airlines Flight 447 to Atlanta. We will begin boarding first-class passengers in 10 minutes. All first-class passengers except 2. Kendrick looked at his daughter, then at the crowd of strangers who had become unwitting witnesses to their humiliation. Jenny's live stream was now at 15,000 viewers and climbing. Amara, he said quietly, remember what I taught you about quiet strength? She nodded, her small hand steady as she typed a single text message. Code red, gate B7, need help. The message went to a contact simply labeled, Board Emergency Line. Flight departure, 10 minutes remaining. Chief Flight Attendant Carol Martinez clicked across the gate area in her polished heels, her supervisor badge gleaming under the fluorescent lights. She'd been called from the VIP lounge where she'd been handling a delayed senator's connecting flight. What's the situation here? Her voice carried the authority of 15 years managing difficult passengers. Brenda straightened her uniform. Fraudulent first-class tickets, ma'am. Father and daughter, classic scam operation. Carol's eyes swept over Kendrick and Amara with practiced efficiency. Faded jeans, basic polo shirt, sneakers that had seen better days, an 8-year-old in a simple purple dress and worn backpack. Nothing screamed money. Have you verified the tickets through our system? Carol asked. The physical tickets appear legitimate, Patricia admitted reluctantly. But that doesn't mean... It means they're real. A voice cut through the conversation. Dr. Sarah Chen, a pediatric oncologist heading to the same Atlanta conference as Kendrick, stepped forward from the crowd. She'd been watching the entire scene unfold with growing disgust. I know this family. That little girl is my patient's daughter from support group meetings. Flight departure, 8 minutes remaining. Carol's expression didn't change. Ma'am, I appreciate your concern, but we have protocols. These tickets could have been purchased with stolen credit cards. Run the credit card verification then, Kendrick said quietly. We don't have time for that, Carol snapped. We have a schedule to maintain. The irony hung heavy in the air. No time to verify legitimacy, but plenty of time for public humiliation. Jenny's Instagram Live had exploded to 23,000 viewers. The comments were a waterfall of outrage. This is 2025 and we're still doing this? Those flight attendants need to be fired. Someone get that baby some help. I'm never flying American again. Screenshots were spreading across Twitter faster than wildfire. Someone had already created a petition to hold American Airlines accountable for discrimination. Flight departure. 6 minutes remaining. Security Officer Park shifted uncomfortably. His training told him to follow the airline's lead, but his gut told him something was wrong. The little girl was clearly sick, and the father's calm demeanor didn't match the profile of a typical scammer. Maybe we should just verify the tickets in the system, he suggested. Officer Park, Carol's voice turned icy, are you questioning our professional judgment? No, ma'am, but then please escort these individuals away from our gate so we can board our legitimate passengers. The word legitimate hit like a slap. Kendrick felt Amara's hand tighten in his. Her breathing was getting worse. Daddy, I need my medicine, she whispered. Kendrick looked toward their carry-on bag, sitting just inside the jetway where Brenda had moved it during the initial confrontation. Her emergency medication is in that bag. You should have thought of that before trying to scam your way onto my plane, Brenda said. Flight departure, 5 minutes remaining. The crowd was getting restless. Dr. Chen pushed forward again. This is medical negligence. That child needs her medication now. Back off, lady, Brenda warned, or you'll be joining them off this flight. You can't threaten passengers for speaking up, called out Marcus Thompson, a civil rights lawyer who'd been documenting everything on his phone. Watch me. Carol stepped between them and the gate. Anyone else who interferes will be placed on our no-fly list. The threat worked. Most passengers stepped back, but their phones kept recording. Jenny's live stream hit 35,000 viewers. The American Airlines customer service phone lines were reportedly jammed with complaint calls. #Americans Against Discrimination was trending nationally. Airport manager David Harrison received the first emergency call on his office phone. Sir, we have a situation at Gate B7. Viral social media incident involving alleged discrimination. Legal exposure appears significant. How significant? Harrison was already grabbing his jacket. Over 40,000 viewers and climbing. News outlets are picking it up. Could be a PR disaster. Flight departure, 4 minutes remaining. More airline staff began arriving. Customer service supervisors, ground crew managers, airport police backup. What had started as a simple gate dispute was becoming a corporate crisis. Regional operations manager Janet Walsh pushed through the crowd, her American Airlines blazer marking her as senior management. She took one look at the scene, phones recording everywhere, a sick child on the floor, staff looking increasingly defensive, and knew they were in deep trouble. What exactly is the problem here? She demanded. Fraudulent tickets, Carol repeated, but her voice lacked its earlier conviction. Show me the verification. We haven't had time to run full verification. You haven't? Walsh's eyes widened. You're accusing passengers of fraud without verification in front of cameras? Amara's condition was deteriorating. The stress had triggered what Kendrick recognized as the beginning of a sickle cell crisis. Her skin was taking on a grayish pallor, and her breathing was shallow. She needs to get to a hospital, Dr. Chen announced loudly. This is a medical emergency. Convenient timing, Carol sneered. Right when we're about to remove them. Are you serious right now? Dr. Chen's professional composure cracked. I'm a doctor. This child is in crisis. So you claim. Flight departure, 3 minutes remaining. Walsh stepped forward, her management training kicking in. This was spiraling out of control. Let's everyone take a step back. Sir, I apologize for this confusion. Let me personally verify your tickets. Too late for that, Brenda muttered under her breath, but loud enough for the microphones to catch. Excuse me? Walsh turned on her subordinate. I said it's too late. We've already established they're fraudulent. You've established nothing without system verification. The crowd sensed the shift in power dynamics. Murmurs of approval rippled through the witnesses as management began questioning the crew's actions. Jenny's live stream chat exploded with comments. Finally, someone with sense! Fire all of them! That little girl needs help! Justice is coming! Flight departure. 2 minutes remaining. Kendrick knelt beside his daughter, pulling out his own phone. He scrolled to a contact labeled simply emergency. His thumb hovered over the call button. Amara, remember what we practiced? She nodded weakly and pulled out her phone again. This time, she opened an app that looked like a standard airline app, but the interface was different. Premium, exclusive, Chairman's Circle Elite status. Account, Johnson Family Trust. Available balance, $2.4 million. Walsh noticed the expensive phone in the child's hands. Something clicked. Sir, may I see your identification again? Kendrick handed over his driver's license. Walsh's eyes widened as she read the name, then looked more carefully at the man in front of her. Dr. Johnson? Kendrick Johnson? Yes. The Dr. Johnson from MedTech Innovations? That's correct. The crowd fell silent. Even Brenda seemed to sense that something had shifted. Flight departure. 1 minute remaining. Final boarding call for American Airlines Flight 447 to Atlanta. The gate was chaotic now. Legitimate first-class passengers were demanding to board. The crowd of witnesses had grown to over 50 people. Airport security supervisors were being called to manage the situation. Carol grabbed her radio. Operations, we need additional security at Gate B7. Multiple disruptive passengers refusing to comply with crew instructions. That's not what's happening, shouted Jenny, still streaming live. They're discriminating against a sick child. Turn off that camera or you're off this flight too. Actually, Marcus Thompson stepped forward, his lawyer instincts kicking in. She has every legal right to record in a public area of the airport. Sir, you need to... I need to do what? Exercise my constitutional rights? Document potential civil rights violations? Walsh was frantically typing on her tablet, pulling up passenger information. The system was slow, but eventually the data loaded. Her face went pale. Flight departure. Time expired. Kendrick made his decision. He pressed the emergency contact on his phone. Code red confirmed, he said quietly into the phone. Gate B7, American Airlines Flight 447. The voice on the other end was crisp, professional. Understood, Dr. Johnson. Emergency protocols activated. Stand by. Amara looked up at her father with tired eyes. Daddy, should I send the message now? Not yet, Princess. Let's give them one more chance to do the right thing. The gate monitor flashed red. Boarding delayed, operational issue. Carol's radio crackled. Gate B7, this is operations. We're showing a system hold on flight 447. Please confirm my status. What system holds? Carol grabbed her radio. We're ready for departure. Negative, B7. Flight is grounded pending executive review. Please maintain the current passenger manifest and prepare for management arrival. Carol's face went white. Executive review? What executive review? Jenny's live stream hit 50,000 viewers. The chat was moving too fast to read, but one message kept repeating, someone with power is watching this. Flight departure, delayed indefinitely. The silence that followed the radio announcement was deafening. 50 passengers stood frozen at Gate B7, their phones still recording, waiting for someone to explain why their flight had just been grounded by mysterious executive review. Walsh stared at her tablet screen, her face growing paler by the second. The passenger manifest showed what she'd feared, Dr. Kendrick Johnson, MedTech Innovations, Chairman's Circle Elite, but there was more data loading, and each line made her stomach drop further. Ma'am? Carol's voice cracked. What executive review? Walsh couldn't speak. The screen showed booking details that made no sense. Johnson Family Trust. 47 first-class seats were purchased. Total cost, $127,340. Payment method, American Express Centurion card. Amara tugged on her father's shirt. Daddy, my chest really hurts. Kendrick's protective instincts overrode everything else. He scooped his daughter into his arms, her small body trembling against his chest. I know, Princess. Just breathe with me. Jenny's live stream audience had swelled to 62,000 viewers. The comments were a blur of speculation. Why is the flight grounded? Someone important is involved. That man knows something. Plot twist incoming. Operational delay, CEO intervention. Amara reached into her purple backpack with shaking hands. She pulled out her phone again, but this time she opened a different app. The interface was sleek, premium, unlike anything a typical 8-year-old would have access to. American Airlines Executive Portal. User A. Johnson. Minor account. Authorization level. Board family member available functions. Fleet management override. Dr. Chen pushed through the crowd, her medical training taking precedence over airport politics. That child needs immediate medical attention. This stress is triggering a sickle cell crisis. Back away from my passengers, Brenda snapped, but her voice lacked its earlier conviction. Your passengers? Dr. Chen's eyebrows shot up. Lady, you don't own this airline. Amara looked up at her father with exhausted eyes. Daddy, should I show them? Kendrick hesitated. Once they revealed the truth, there would be no going back. Their quiet family life would be over. But looking at his daughter's pale face, the decision made itself. Show them, sweetheart. Amara held up her phone so everyone could see the screen. The app interface was unmistakable. It wasn't a passenger app. It was an administrative portal that only airline executives and board members had access to. Current user, Amara Johnson, minor, account type, board family, immediate relatives, flight tracking, 47 seats purchased, flight AA 447, override authority, operational holds, crew reviews, flight delays. The crowd pressed closer, trying to understand what they were seeing. Marcus Thompson, the lawyer, was the first to piece it together. Holy shit, he whispered, then louder. Do you people realize who you just humiliated? Walsh was frantically scrolling through her tablet, accessing files that required executive clearance. Johnson Family Trust, holdings, American Airlines stock, percentage, 11.7% of total shares. Market value, $356.86 million. Board position, Dr. Kendrick Johnson, Chairman of the Medical Advisory Committee. Emergency contacts, American Airlines CEO Robert Mitchell, direct line. Oh my God, Walsh breathed. But Amara wasn't finished. She swiped to another screen, her small fingers navigating the interface with practiced ease. A contact list appeared, filled with names that made Walsh's blood run cold. Asterisk Dad's office, American Airlines Board. Emergency line asterisk Uncle Robert. CEO direct asterisk Grandma Rose. Investor Relations VP asterisk Dr. Marcus Williams. Memorial Foundation. Board Chairman Brenda's confident smirk disappeared like smoke. She took a step backward, her eyes fixed on the phone screen, trying to process what she was seeing. Carol stepped closer to Walsh's tablet, reading over her shoulder. When she saw the shareholding percentage, her knees nearly buckled. Officer Park noticed the expensive medical equipment scattered around Amara's feet. Devices he'd mistaken for toys were actually sophisticated monitoring equipment worth thousands of dollars. Patricia's hands shook as she realized she'd accused the daughter of one of American Airlines' largest shareholders of ticket fraud. Jenny's live stream audience erupted. She's connected to the airline. Her family owns the company. Owns the I. This is about to get real. Heads are gonna roll. Amara's phone showed one unread message in a thread labeled Emergency Board Meeting. Vote scheduled for 3:15 p.m. Quarterly projections and operational oversight review. Your attendance is required. Uncle Robert. The timestamp showed the message had been sent 20 minutes ago, right around the time the confrontation began. But there was another contact that no one had noticed yet, buried in her favorites list. Emergency, Dad's work phone. The subtitle read, CEO Direct Line, Board Emergency Protocols. Kendrick noticed the crowd staring at his daughter's phone and made a decision. He pulled out his own device and dialed a number from memory. Robert? It's Kendrick. We have a problem at Gate B7. The name Robert sent a ripple through the crowd. Anyone familiar with American Airlines knew there was only one Robert who mattered. CEO Robert Mitchell. Dr. Chen's eyes widened. You're calling the CEO directly? He's my brother-in-law, Kendrick said simply. The revelation hit like a thunderbolt. Jenny's live stream chat exploded. CEO is his brother-in-law? Family owns the airline? Those employees are so fired. Marcus Thompson started laughing, not from humor, but from the sheer magnitude of the mistake these employees had made. Lady, he said to Brenda, you just discriminated against the boss's family. Now that people were looking closely, the signs had been there all along. Amara's medical bracelet wasn't just any alert jewelry. It was custom platinum with the inscription, Dr. Marcus Williams Memorial Foundation, board chairman's granddaughter. Her backpack, which had looked like a simple purple bag, bore a small embroidered logo, Johnson Family Trust. The carry-on bag Brenda had moved contained not just medication, but a laptop case with American Airlines Medical Advisory Committee stickers. Kendrick's boarding pass, when pieced back together, showed seat 2A, the premier first-class seat reserved for the airline's most important passengers. Walsh found her voice first. Dr. Johnson, I am so incredibly sorry. This is a complete misunderstanding. No. Kendrick's voice remained calm, but there was steel underneath. This isn't a misunderstanding. This is exactly what it appears to be. His phone was still connected to the CEO. Robert Mitchell's voice came through clearly enough for everyone to hear. Kendrick, are you telling me my staff discriminated against Amara, my goddaughter? That's exactly what I'm telling you. Put me on speaker. Kendrick complied. The CEO's voice filled the gate area. This is Robert Mitchell, CEO of American Airlines. I want every employee involved in this incident to remain exactly where they are. I'm personally flying to Newark to handle this situation. Flight status, delayed pending executive arrival, CEO, arrival, 45 minutes. The gate area had transformed into a corporate war zone. Word of the incident had spread beyond social media. American Airlines stock was already down 3.2% in after-hours trading. Financial news outlets were picking up the story. Crisis management teams were being assembled in boardrooms across the country. Amara sat in her father's lap, her breathing slowly stabilizing now that the immediate stress had passed. But Kendrick could see the toll the confrontation had taken on her small body. Her sickle cell crisis was manageable for now, but she needed proper medical attention soon. "Daddy," she whispered, "can I tell them the numbers now?" Kendrick looked at the airline employees who had tormented his daughter. They stood in a tight cluster, their earlier arrogance replaced by barely concealed panic. "Yes, Princess. Tell them exactly what this is going to cost." Amara pulled out her phone again, this time opening a financial app that no 8-year-old should have had access to. The interface showed real-time American Airlines data that even most employees couldn't see. American Airlines stock price, she read in her clear, young voice, $127.45 per share. The crowd leaned in, mesmerized by the child's calm recitation of corporate data. Williams Family Trust Holdings, 2.8 million shares. Marcus Thompson, the lawyer, was already calculating on his phone. That's over $350 million in holdings. 356.86 million, Amara corrected politely. Annual shareholder voting power, 11.7%. Jenny's live-stream chat exploded with real-time commentary. She's reading stock data like a CFO. This kid knows more about the airline than the employees. They messed with the wrong family. Stock is tanking in real time. Walsh's tablet was buzzing with incoming messages from corporate headquarters. Each notification brought worse news. The legal department had already identified multiple violation categories floating across her screen. Americans with Disabilities Act, denial of medical accommodation, potential damages $50,000, $500,000 per incident. Civil Rights Act Section 1981, discrimination in public accommodation. Potential damages $100,000, $2 million per incident. Airline Consumer Protection Regulations, denial of paid service without cause. Potential damages $25,000, $1 million per incident. Corporate liability exposure from social media documentation, $50, $100 million in class action lawsuit potential. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her medical expertise adding another layer of legal complexity. I'm documenting a deliberate denial of medical care to a child in crisis. That's medical negligence, possibly criminal. Oh, Brenda finally found her voice, but it came out as a croak. We didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't ask, Kendrick said quietly. You made assumptions based on our skin color and my casual clothes. Patricia tried to salvage the situation. Sir, perhaps we can resolve this quietly. Move you to first class, upgrade your service. Quietly? Marcus Thompson laughed bitterly. Lady, there are 130,000 people watching this live. The time for quiet passed when you humiliated a sick child. The live stream counter continued climbing. 134,000, 137,000, 142,000 viewers. Screenshots were being shared across every major social platform. News outlets were beginning to pick up the story from social media feeds. Airport manager David Harrison finally arrived, flanked by two corporate crisis management specialists who had somehow materialized faster than should have been possible. His face was grim as he surveyed the scene. Dozens of passengers with phones out, a sick child in her father's arms, and staff who looked like they wanted to disappear. "Dr. Johnson," Harrison said carefully, "I understand there's been a significant misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding," Kendrick replied. "This is exactly what it looks like." Amara's phone rang. The ringtone was "Fly Me to the Moon," a family joke that wasn't funny anymore. She answered on speaker, her small voice carrying clearly across the gate area. "Hi, Uncle Robert." "Hi, sweetheart, are you okay? Daddy told me some people were mean to you. They said we were liars and thieves. They tore up our ticket and wouldn't let me get my medicine." The CEO's voice hardened. "Put the ranking airline official on the phone, now!" Walsh stepped forward with trembling hands. "This is Janet Walsh, Regional Operations Manager." "Miss Walsh, you have exactly 60 seconds to explain why my goddaughter was denied boarding on her own family's airline." "Sir, there was a misunderstanding about ticket verification." "No misunderstanding. I'm looking at the security footage right now. Your staff racially profiled an 8-year-old girl and her father in front of cameras while denying medical care." The silence stretched like a taut wire. "Here's what's going to happen," Mitchell continued. "Every employee involved in this incident is suspended immediately. No exceptions." Carol tried to interrupt. "Sir, we were following protocol." "You were following prejudice. There's a difference." Harrison's crisis management specialists were frantically typing on their tablets, implementing damage control protocols. One leaned over to whisper urgently in his ear, "Stock price down 4.1% and falling. Twitter is trending in 47 countries. We need immediate action." Mitchell's voice filled the gate area like a judge delivering a verdict. "Miss Walsh, I want you to understand the full scope of what just happened here." "Yes, sir." "The Johnson Family Trust doesn't just own stock in American Airlines. They control pension funds worth $2.4 billion. Those funds represent 847,000 passengers annually." Walsh's face went white. She was doing the math. Revenue impact, customer lifetime value, network effects. "Dr. Johnson sits on our medical advisory committee. His foundation provides medical transport for critically ill children. His research has saved us millions in liability insurance by improving our medical emergency protocols." Amara coughed slightly, and Kendrick immediately checked her breathing. The gesture wasn't lost on anyone watching. Several passengers in the crowd were visibly emotional, some wiping away tears. "But more importantly," Mitchell's voice grew cold, "Amara is my brother's daughter. She calls me Uncle Robert because I'm married to her aunt. She's not just a shareholder, she's family." Dr. Chen moved closer to Amara, her medical training overriding corporate politics. "Her oxygen saturation is low. She needs to be evaluated by a physician immediately." "The nearest children's hospital is 20 minutes away," Harrison said, pulling out his phone. "No," Kendrick said firmly. "She has an appointment at Atlanta Children's Hospital, that's why we're here." "Sir, given her condition is stable. What's not stable is your airline's reputation." The CEO's ultimatum was delivered with surgical precision. "Here are your options. Option 1, full accountability, immediate termination of involved staff, comprehensive policy reform, and a public apology. Option 2, I call an emergency shareholder meeting. The Johnson Family Trust votes no confidence in current management. The board follows their lead because they always do. New management cleans the house anyway, but now we've wasted time and money." Option 3, Dr. Johnson activates the discrimination clause in our partnership agreements. 847,000 passengers received notice that American Airlines is under federal investigation for civil rights violations. They're encouraged to fly with our competitors. Walsh was frantically taking notes, but her hands were shaking too badly to write clearly. Option 4, this goes legal. Civil rights lawsuit, class action suit, federal investigation, and congressional hearings. The Johnson Foundation has very good lawyers and unlimited resources. Amara, still sitting in her father's lap, opened another app on her phone. This one showed American Airlines real-time operational data. Current daily revenue, $18.7 million, she read. Annual revenue dependent on Johnson Foundation partnerships, $180 million. Insurance liability if a medical discrimination lawsuit succeeds, $75 million immediate exposure. Stock price impact if this story reaches national news, estimated 12 to 20% decline. Marcus Thompson whistled low. The kid knows her numbers. She should, Kendrick said. She's been attending board meetings since she was 5. CEO arrival, 30 minutes. Walsh's radio crackled with incoming updates from corporate headquarters. Regional operations, this is crisis management. We're showing significant social media activity related to Gate B7. Please confirm the status of involved personnel. This is executive communications. We need immediate statements from all staff involved in the Newark incident. Legal is standing by. This is investor relations. The stock price is dropping. We need damage control protocols activated immediately. This is federal affairs. Congressional offices are calling. We need talking points immediately. Jenny's live stream had reached 158,000 viewers. #Americans Against Discrimination was trending in 12 countries. News vans were already heading to Newark Airport. Local television stations were sending crews. Flight attendant Brenda Matthews was quietly escorted away by airport security. Her 15-year career was effectively over, not just with American Airlines, but likely with any major carrier. The aviation industry was small, and word traveled fast. Carol Martinez found herself face-to-face with 2 corporate representatives who had somehow arrived faster than seemed possible. They were polite but firm. Her supervisor certification was suspended pending investigation. Her badge and access cards were collected on the spot. Officer Park was dealing with his own supervisors, who were asking pointed questions about why he'd supported the airline's position without conducting proper verification. His union representative was already en route. American Airlines emergency response protocols activated with military precision. Crisis management teams secured conference rooms and initialized media strategies. Legal departments prepared settlement authorities and initiated liability assessments. Customer service recovery specialists received priority dispatch orders to Gate B7. Media relations departments briefed spokespeople and scheduled executive interviews. But the real power shift was more subtle. Regional managers across the airline system received a system-wide alert. All passenger discrimination complaints to be escalated immediately to executive level, no exceptions. Flight scheduling systems were updated with new protocols for medical accommodation requests. Training departments received urgent mandates to develop bias recognition programs. The insurance department began calculating policy adjustments for civil rights coverage. CEO arrival, 15 minutes. A new voice came through Walsh's radio. This is Chief Legal Counsel Sarah Martinez. I'm authorized to offer immediate settlement terms to Dr. Johnson. Put it on speaker, Kendrick said. Dr. Johnson, American Airlines, formally apologizes for the treatment you and your daughter received. We're prepared to offer the following immediate remedies. Full refund of all ticket costs, plus punitive damages of $50,000. Guaranteed first-class accommodation on all future American Airlines flights for your entire family. A personal apology from our CEO, delivered in person. Immediate policy changes to prevent similar incidents. Kendrick looked down at his daughter. What do you think, Princess? Amara considered this with the seriousness of a child who had grown up around corporate negotiations. I think they need to promise that no other kids get treated like this. You heard her, Kendrick said into the radio. We're not interested in money. We want systemic change. CEO arrival. Imminent. The sound of expensive leather shoes clicking across polished terminal floors announced Robert Mitchell's arrival before anyone saw him. The CEO of American Airlines moved through Newark Airport like a force of nature, flanked by legal counsel, crisis management specialists, and a small army of corporate executives. He was younger than most people expected, 42 years old with the kind of quiet intensity that came from running a Fortune 500 company. But right now, he looked like an uncle who'd been told someone had hurt his niece. The crowd at Gate B7 parted as Mitchell approached. His eyes swept the scene. His goddaughter sitting pale and exhausted in her father's arms, dozens of passengers with phones still recording, and his airline employees looking like they wanted to disappear into the floor. "Amara," he said softly, kneeling in front of Kendrick's chair. "How are you feeling, sweetheart?" "Better now that you're here, Uncle Robert." Her voice was tired but steady. Mitchell's jaw tightened as he stood and faced his employees. "Miss Walsh, Miss Martinez, Miss Matthews. Oh, wait, Miss Matthews has already been escorted away. Good." The remaining staff stood at attention like soldiers awaiting court-martial. "Explain to me," Mitchell said, his voice deadly calm, "how 3 experienced airline professionals decided that an 8-year-old girl with a first-class ticket was running a scam operation." Walsh tried to speak first. "Sir, the tickets appeared suspicious." "Appeared suspicious? How?" "They were purchased through our own system with a valid credit card from an account holder we've known for 15 years. The passengers didn't look like they could afford first-class—" "Stop!" Mitchell held up a hand. "Did you just tell me that you profiled passengers based on their appearance?" The silence was damning. Jenny's live stream had reached 203,000 viewers. The chat was moving so fast it looked like digital static. "CEO is pissed. Justice is coming. Those employees are done. This is what accountability looks like." Mitchell turned to address the crowd of passengers who had witnessed the entire incident. "Ladies and gentlemen, I am Robert Mitchell, CEO of American Airlines. What you witnessed today is not representative of our company's values, and I personally guarantee it will never happen again." He pulled out his phone and made a call on speaker. "Board emergency line, this is Robert. I need an immediate vote on operational policy changes. Yes, right now." The corporate machinery moved with ruthless efficiency. Within minutes, Mitchell's legal team had prepared termination paperwork for Brenda Matthews. Her discriminatory actions, captured on multiple video streams and witnessed by dozens of passengers, constituted grounds for immediate dismissal. Carol Martinez received a formal suspension pending full investigation. Her supervisor credentials were revoked, and she would be required to complete extensive bias training before any consideration of reinstatement. Patricia Wilson faced similar consequences: suspension without pay and mandatory retraining. Her gate agent certification was under review by airport authorities. "Dr. Johnson," Mitchell said, "I want you to understand that these are not just disciplinary actions. These are permanent changes to how we operate." Kendrick nodded, still holding Amara close. "What kind of changes?" Mitchell gestured to one of his executives, who began reading from a tablet. "Effective immediately. Zero-tolerance discrimination protocol. First incident of verified bias results in immediate suspension. Investigation period not to exceed 72 hours. Proven discrimination results in termination and industry blacklist." The crowd murmured approval. This wasn't just corporate speak. This was policy with teeth. Second, enhanced medical emergency response system. All crew members will receive mandatory training in recognizing sickle cell crises, diabetic emergencies, and other chronic conditions affecting children. Amara looked up at this. "Will they know how to help kids like me?" "They will now," Mitchell promised. One of Mitchell's technology executives stepped forward with a prototype tablet. "Dr. Johnson, we'd like to show you something we've been developing." The screen displayed an application interface labeled Fairfly with a sleek, user-friendly design. "This is a real-time bias reporting and accountability platform. Passengers can report discriminatory incidents immediately through our app. Each report triggers automatic investigation protocols." "Show me how it works," Kendrick said. The executive demonstrated. Passenger selects Report Bias, fills out a brief form, and can upload video evidence directly. The report goes immediately to our executive team and legal department. No filtering through lower management. "What about accountability?" Marcus Thompson asked, his lawyer instincts engaged. "Each incident is tracked with a unique ID. Passengers receive regular updates on investigation status. Monthly bias statistics are published publicly on our website. Complete transparency." Mitchell added, "We're also implementing AI-powered bias detection in customer service interactions. If our system detects discriminatory language or behavior patterns, it triggers immediate supervisor intervention." The technology was impressive, but Amara had a more important question. What about other kids who don't have daddies with airplane companies? Mitchell's response showed he'd been thinking about this exact question. We're partnering with the NAACP, Anti-Defamation League, and disability rights advocates to completely redesign our training program. Every American Airlines employee, from baggage handlers to executives, will complete a mandatory 16-hour program covering unconscious bias recognition, cultural competency, and customer service excellence. The program includes real-world scenario training using actors to simulate discrimination situations. Employees must demonstrate competency, not just attendance. Dr. Chen stepped forward. What about medical training? This child could have died if her crisis had escalated. Medical accommodation training is now mandatory for all customer-facing staff. We're partnering with Children's Miracle Network hospitals to ensure our crew can recognize and respond to pediatric medical emergencies. The changes weren't just cosmetic. They represented a fundamental shift in how the airline would operate. Mitchell's CFO joined the group, carrying a leather portfolio. Dr. Johnson, we want to put our money where our mouth is. $2.5 million immediate donation to the Sickle Cell Disease Foundation. $50,000 annual scholarship fund for underrepresented students pursuing careers in aviation. Free medical transport program for chronically ill children who need specialized care in distant cities. Partnership agreement with Children's Miracle Network hospitals to provide emergency transportation nationwide. Amara's eyes lit up at this last point. Really? Other sick kids won't have to worry about airplane tickets? Never again, Mitchell promised. But there was more. The CFO continued. We're also establishing the Amara Johnson Dignity and Travel Fund. This foundation will investigate discrimination complaints across all airlines and advocate for industry-wide policy changes. Mitchell's ambitions extended beyond American Airlines. We're sharing our new bias detection technology with other carriers. This isn't about competitive advantage. It's about human dignity. We're proposing industry-wide standards for discrimination reporting. Every major airline should have real-time bias monitoring. Congressional testimony is scheduled for next month. We're advocating for federal legislation requiring bias training for all transportation employees. International partnerships are being developed. We want these standards implemented globally. The scope was breathtaking. One incident at Gate B7 was driving transformation across an entire industry. Dr. Chen had been monitoring Amara throughout the conversation. Her condition is stable, but she should be evaluated soon. Mitchell immediately activated the airline's medical emergency protocols. We have a medical transport aircraft standing by. Dr. Johnson, we can have you in Atlanta within 2 hours. The Children's Hospital has been notified. Dr. Sarah Patterson, head of pediatric hematology, is expecting Amara personally. All medical expenses related to this incident will be covered by American Airlines. Kendrick looked at his daughter. What do you think, Princess? Ready to see Dr. Patterson? Amara nodded, then looked at the crowd of passengers who had supported her. Can I say something first? Mitchell helped Amara stand so everyone could see her clearly. Jenny adjusted her phone to capture the moment. I want to thank everyone who stood up for me today, Amara said, her young voice carrying across the gate area. My daddy always tells me that change happens when good people refuse to stay quiet. The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. I hope this helps other kids who look like me. Nobody should be treated badly because of their skin color or because they're sick. And I hope those people who were mean to me learn to be better. Daddy says everyone deserves a second chance if they're willing to change. The crowd erupted in applause. Jenny's live-stream chat is filled with heart emojis and crying faces. Mitchell personally escorted Kendrick and Amara to the medical transport aircraft. The plane was equipped with pediatric medical equipment and staffed with a flight nurse specializing in sickle cell care. As they boarded, Amara turned back to wave at the crowd still gathered at Gate B7. Many were crying. All were recording this moment of justice and dignity. Uncle Robert, she said as they settled into the luxurious cabin, do you think this will really help other kids? I think you just changed the world, sweetheart. Flight status. Medical transport departing 6 months later. The Amara Johnson Dignity and Travel Fund had processed 847 discrimination complaints across 12 airlines. Each case was investigated with the same thoroughness that had transformed American Airlines policies. Amara, now healthier thanks to her Atlanta treatment, had become the youngest spokesperson for sickle cell awareness. Her testimony before Congress led to the Pediatric Medical Accommodation Act, requiring all transportation companies to train staff in childhood chronic illness recognition. Dr. Kendrick Johnson joined American Airlines Board of Directors, ensuring that profit never again superseded human dignity. The Fairfly app had been downloaded 2.3 million times, creating an industry-wide accountability network. The Williams Family Trust expanded beyond medical research into aviation equality. Their scholarship program had enrolled 127 minority students in pilot training programs, breaking barriers in an industry that had excluded too many for too long. Quiet dignity had proven more powerful than loud confrontation. Strategic thinking has achieved more than emotional reaction. Data-driven action had created lasting change where hollow promises had failed. Most importantly, no child would face what Amara had endured at Gate B7. Have you witnessed injustice that could spark change? Share your story in the comments below. When we document discrimination, we create accountability. When we stand together, we transform systems. Every voice deserves to be heard. Every child deserves respect. Every traveler deserves dignity. Subscribe to Black Voices Uncut for more stories of quiet power creating loud change. Hit that notification bell, because courage comes in all sizes and change begins with each of us.
At Black Voices Uncut, we don't polish away the pain or water down the message. We tell it like it is because the truth deserves nothing less. If today's story spoke to you, click like, join the conversation in the comments, and subscribe so you'll be here for the next Uncut Voice.
Get this black bitch out of my AP class. Brandon Hartwell grabs Madison Cooper by her hair and slams her face into the locker. The metal door dents from the impact. Blood explodes from her nose, spattering the white hallway tiles. He throws her down hard. Her research binder flies open, scattering 3 months of AP history work across the floor. Before she can move, Brandon's foot crushes her hand against the ground. Bones crack under his weight. Madison screams. He kicks her ribs. "You don't deserve to be here, scholarship trash." His friends film it all, laughing. 40 students circle them with phones raised. A teacher glances over, then keeps walking. Nobody intervenes. They just watch a 15-year-old girl get beaten unconscious while recording it for their Instagram stories. What would you do if this happened to you, and nobody helped? Monday, 2:48 p.m. 13 minutes until parent pickup. Madison stays on the floor for 30 seconds. Her hand throbs, her ribs scream. Blood drips from her nose onto white marble tiles. She pushes herself up slowly. The crowd backs away. She kneels and starts gathering papers with shaking hands. AP history research, civil rights movement timelines. 3 months of work now stained red. Nobody helps. Westbridge Academy charges $45,000 per year. The hallway smells like privilege and cruelty. Marble floors, oak walls, a bronze plaque by the entrance. Excellence through tradition since 1887. Madison is the only black student in advanced placement, full scholarship. Her locker was spray-painted last month. Diversity hire in red letters. 2 weeks ago, someone carved affirmative action bitch into the metal. She reported both times. Vice Principal Thornton said she was being too sensitive. Her phone buzzes, a text from Dad. "Picking you up today. Flight landed early. 3 o'clock sharp." She types back with her good hand. "Can't wait." Around her, students whisper and film. Someone starts a TikTok live stream. The viewer count climbs fast. She's still here? Why doesn't she just transfer? Probably faking for attention. Madison keeps collecting papers. Her hands steady now. She knows something they don't. In 13 minutes, everything changes. She stacks the blood-stained pages carefully, one sheet at a time. Her essay on systemic racism sits on top. The title is still readable. When Institutions Fail, a Case Study. She checks her watch. Black tactical band, digital face. Her father gave it to her last birthday. 12 minutes left. She picks up the last page, smooths it flat, adds it to the stack. Her movements are methodical, calm, like she's done this before, like she's prepared for exactly this moment. Because she has been. Brandon comes back with 5 friends, sons of power. Brandon's father owns 3 hospitals. Tyler Chen's mother is a state senator. Dylan Webb's dad runs a tech company worth $200 million. Jake Morrison's family donated the new science wing. Liam Rodriguez's grandfather sits on the school board. These boys have never been told no. She's still here? Brandon announces. Thought trash took itself out. They form a wall around Madison. She stands now, holding her damaged binder. Blood drips onto the cover. Tyler steps forward. How did you even get into AP? Your test scores must be garbage. Affirmative action, Dylan says. Lowering standards for everyone. My dad says students like her ruin Westbridge's reputation. Jake lifts his phone. Let me get this on video. He frames the shot. Madison in center, blood on her face, boys surrounding her. When the diversity hire thinks she belongs, Jake says into camera. He posts it immediately. Likes come fast. Brandon grabs a paper from Madison's binder. He reads aloud, mocking, Systemic Racism in American Education, a Case Study. Of course, he shows his friends. Always playing victim, always complaining. Maybe if you studied instead of whining, Tyler starts. You wouldn't need special treatment, Dylan finishes. They crowd closer. Madison can smell expensive cologne. Brandon's face is inches from hers. She doesn't look away. Move, she says quietly. Or what? Brandon pushes her shoulder, not hard enough to knock her down, hard enough to show dominance. What are you going to do? Behind them, dozens of students watch. The live stream has hundreds of viewers. A teacher walks past, glances at the crowd, keeps walking. Westbridge's unspoken rule, don't interfere with students whose parents donate 6 figures. Madison checks her watch. 10 minutes, she whispers. What? Brandon leans in. Nothing. Her voice is unnaturally calm. Just keeping time. Tyler laughs. Keeping time for what? Your dad to come cry to the principal? Something like that. Madison's lips barely move. More phones come out. The crowd grows. Everyone wants footage. Everyone wants to say they were there when the scholarship girl finally broke. But Madison doesn't break. She stands perfectly still, waiting. Brandon doesn't understand. Victims don't wait. They run, they cry, they collapse. Madison just watches him, like she's studying an insect. It makes him uncomfortable. 2:51 p.m. 9 minutes. You're freaking me out. Tyler shifts his weight. Why are you so calm? Madison doesn't answer. She bends down and gathers the rest of her papers. But she's not scrambling. She's organizing. Sorting by page number, straightening edges. This isn't victim behavior. I'm talking to you. Brandon kicks papers from her hands. Look at me. Madison looks up. Her eyes are completely dry. No tears, no fear, just cold patience. You're going to regret this, she says. The boys go silent. Is that a threat? Brandon starts recording. Everyone hear that? She just threatened me. His friends join in. So threatening, Dylan says. We should call security, Jake adds. Security won't help you. Madison stands with her reorganized binder. She checks her watch. 8 minutes. 8 minutes until what? Until my dad gets here. Brandon laughs. Your daddy's coming? What's he gonna do? Walk through that door. Madison points to the main entrance. Tyler snorts. And then what? Complain? Threaten to sue? He doesn't threaten. Madison's voice drops. He just acts. Cool story. Brandon crosses his arms. Your dad's probably some low-level enlisted guy who thinks his uniform matters here. He's Navy, Madison says. So? Dylan shrugs. Military rank means nothing at Westbridge. You'll see. Madison checks her watch. 7 minutes. The live stream passes 500 viewers. Someone comments, why is she so calm, though? Another, she's acting weird. A third, something's about to happen. Jake notices something on Madison's backpack, a small pin on the strap, gold trident on black background. What's that? He points. Madison shifts the bag behind her. Nothing. Brandon grabs it and spins it around. Below the trident, small letters. The only easy day was yesterday. Military nerd stuff? Brandon mocks it. Madison stays quiet. She pulls out her phone. The case has a photo. A tall black man in military dress uniform. Rows of medals cover his chest. His hand rests on young Madison's shoulder. Tyler snatches the phone. This your dad? He looks basic. What's he gonna do, yell at us? He shows the photo to the group. They laugh. Someone screenshots it. They don't notice the details, the specific medals, the gold trident matching her pin, the insignia on his shoulder. Madison's watch vibrates. A message. 5 minutes, stay visible. She types back, main hallway, east entrance. Who are you texting? Dylan reaches for her wrist. She pulls away. My father. Telling him exactly where I am. Perfect. Brandon smirks. Can't wait to meet him. Maybe he'll explain why you think you belong here. He won't explain. Madison's voice is ice. He'll demonstrate. 2:55 p.m., 5 minutes. The boys don't understand why she's smiling. It's not a big smile, just a small curve at the corner of her mouth, like she knows a secret, like she's counting down to something they can't imagine. The main entrance is 30 feet away. 5 minutes feels like forever. Madison can wait. 2:54 p.m., 6 minutes remaining. Vice Principal Richard Thornton pushes through the crowd. White male, late 50s. His family name is engraved on a plaque in the library. He doesn't ask what happened. He looks at Madison and assumes. Miss Cooper. His voice carries authority. Are you causing disruption again? Again. The word hangs there. Madison touches her bleeding nose. Again. This is the first time you've seen anything. Don't be dramatic. Thornton glances at scattered papers. Looks like you had an accident with your binder. An accident. Madison's voice is flat. Is that what we're calling assault now? Assault? Thornton's eyebrows rise. He turns to Brandon. Did you see what happened? Brandon's face becomes innocent. She tripped, sir. We tried to help, but she got aggressive. That's a lie, Madison says. Watch your tone, young lady. Thornton's voice sharpens. Brandon's father is on the hospital board. I've known this family for 20 years. The message is clear. Brandon's family matters. Madison's doesn't. Tyler steps forward. She's been hostile all day, Mr. Thornton. We're actually concerned. Hostile how? Madison can't believe this. You've been making people uncomfortable with constant discussions about race, Thornton says. Your teachers have mentioned it. This essay, for example. He picks up her blood-stained paper. Systemic racism in education. Very divisive. It's my AP history assignment. Perhaps AP classes create too much stress for you. Thornton's voice softens like he's being kind. I've been thinking you might be more comfortable in regular track. Less pressure. More appropriate to your background. Your background. Code for race. Madison's jaw tightens. My GPA is 3.9. I scored 98th percentile on placement tests. Test scores don't measure everything. Thornton waves dismissively. Social fit matters at Westbridge. You need to consider whether this environment suits you. My needs are to learn without being attacked. That's enough. Thornton's patience ends. You need to come to my office now. I'm waiting for my father. He's 4 minutes away. Your father can meet us in my office. I'll wait here. Thornton's hand moves toward her arm, not grabbing, just gesturing. But the intent is clear. A security guard appears. James Patterson, white male, retired police officer, 15 years at Westbridge. Need assistance, Mr. Thornton? Patterson's hand rests on his belt. Miss Cooper is being uncooperative. Patterson looks at Madison's bloody face, her injured hand, the papers around her. He doesn't ask if she needs medical attention. He asks, you refusing to follow instructions? I'm waiting for my parent, Madison says carefully, which is my right. You're causing a disturbance. Around them, dozens of students film. The live stream has over 1,000 viewers. 2:56 p.m., 4 minutes, Jake's TikTok video explodes. In 5 minutes, it hits 10,000 views. The algorithm loves conflict. Comments appear faster than anyone can read. Why is she even at a school like that? Affirmative action = lower standards. Feel bad for real students who earned their spots. But other voices push back. Y'all really justifying assault? She's bleeding and they're calling her the problem? This is literally hate crime on camera. The school's official Instagram gets tagged hundreds of times. Westbridge's social media manager, working from home, sees notifications. Her phone won't stop buzzing. She calls Principal Elizabeth Hayes, who's at an education conference 2 hours away. We have a situation. Hayes pulls up the video. She watches Brandon shove Madison, watches the blood, watches Thornton arrive, and immediately blame Madison. Oh my God! Hayes stands from the conference table. Who's handling this? Thornton. Tell him to wait. Don't do anything until I get there. He's already confronting her. Hayes is already grabbing her coat. Call him now. Tell him to back off. But the message doesn't reach Thornton in time. He doesn't check his phone. He's too focused on maintaining order, on protecting the Hartwell family, on making sure this scholarship student learns her place. Madison watches it unfold. The phones, the live stream counts climbing, the comments section becoming a war zone. She checks her watch. 3 minutes. Her father taught her something important. Documentation beats emotion. Evidence beats testimony. When you're outnumbered and outmatched, you don't fight with fists. You fight with proof. She's been recording audio on her phone since Brandon first grabbed her. Everything is saved. Thornton's words about her background, the security guard's assumption of guilt, Brandon's lies, all captured. Her phone buzzes, a text from Dad. Parking now, walking in 2 minutes. She types back, "They're trying to remove me, Thornton plus security." His response is immediate. "Don't move, I'm coming." The live stream passes 1,500 viewers. Someone shares it to Twitter. It gets retweeted by an education activist account with 200,000 followers. Caption: "This is what systemic racism in private schools looks like." Within minutes, Westbridge Academy is trending locally. School board members start getting calls, parents asking what's happening, alumni demanding explanations. And Madison just stands there, bleeding, waiting. 2 minutes left, 2:58 p.m., 2 minutes. "Miss Cooper, I'm not asking again." Thornton's voice hardens. "You're coming to my office. I'm waiting for my father. You can wait there. I'll wait here." Thornton nods to Patterson. The security guard steps forward. His hand touches Madison's shoulder. Firm grip, not violent but unmistakable. Madison doesn't resist, but she speaks clearly, loud enough for every phone to capture. "You're touching me without consent. You're on camera. Multiple cameras. Remove your hand." Patterson hesitates. He looks at Thornton. "She's being removed for disruption," Thornton says. "Proceed." But something shifts in the crowd. Some students look uncomfortable. A few lower their phones. One girl whispers, "Why is she so calm?" Another, "This feels wrong." The live stream comments split. They're literally assaulting her again. She asked him not to touch her. Where are the adults who actually help kids? Madison pulls out her phone. She makes one call. Speaker on. Everyone can hear. It rings once. A deep voice answers immediately. "Princess, I'm walking in now. 30 seconds. The voice has weight to it. Command. The kind of voice that makes people stand straighter without thinking. Tyler laughs nervously. "Ooh, Daddy's coming. So scary." But the voice continues. "Are you safe?" "Thornton and security are trying to remove me from the hallway," Madison says. "I told them I'm waiting for you. Stay exactly where you are." The voice isn't loud, but it's absolute. "I'll handle it." "Yes, sir." She ends the call. Thornton's face flushes red. "Your father doesn't give orders in my school." "You'll want to rethink that," Madison says. The main entrance is 30 feet away. Everyone hears the door alarm beep. Someone's coming in. Heavy footsteps echo in the marble hallway. Military cadence, measured, purposeful. The crowd parts instinctively. Brandon turns toward the sound. His smirk fades. The footsteps stop. Everyone turns. Vice Principal Thornton's face goes pale. In the entrance stands a man in full Navy dress uniform. Tall, broad-shouldered, ribbons cover his chest. Silver Star, Bronze Star, multiple service medals. The gold trident insignia gleams. But he's not alone. To his left, a woman in a sharp business suit carrying a leather folder. To his right, a man with credentials hanging from his neck. The letters are visible, Doe DA. The three of them stand there, silent, assessing. The man in uniform scans the hallway with tactical precision. He sees the crowd, the phones, the live stream. He sees Thornton's hand still gesturing toward Madison. He sees Patterson's grip on his daughter's shoulder. His eyes move to Madison. The blood on her face, her swollen hand, the torn papers at her feet. His expression doesn't change, but something in the air shifts. Like the moment before lightning strikes. He doesn't speak yet. He doesn't need to. Patterson's hand drops from Madison's shoulder. Thornton takes an involuntary step back. Brandon's phone slips in his sweaty palm. The live stream viewer count hits 2,000. Everyone watching, everyone waiting. Madison's father takes one step forward, then another, walking toward his daughter like he's crossing a battlefield, and everyone else is frozen. 3 p.m. Commander James Cooper stands 6'3". His Navy dress uniform is immaculate. White shirt, dark jacket, rows of ribbons across his chest tell stories most people can't read, but some can. A student in the back whispers, "That's a Silver Star." Another, "And Bronze Star with Valor." The trident on his chest catches the light. Navy SEAL. The pin Madison wears on her backpack isn't memorabilia, it's legacy. James doesn't rush. He walks at measured pace, each step deliberate. He's crossed battlefields in Fallujah and Kandahar. A prep school hallway doesn't intimidate him. The woman beside him matches his pace. Captain Sarah Martinez, Navy JAG Corps. Her uniform is equally pristine. The leather folder in her hands is thick, very thick. The third person is civilian, Dr. Raymond Torres. His DODEA credentials swing from a lanyard, Department of Defense Education Activity. He carries a tablet and his own folder. They reach Madison. James stops in front of her. His hand comes up gently to her face. He examines her bloody nose, her split lip. His jaw tightens, but his voice stays calm. "Princess, you okay?" "Yes, sir." Madison's voice cracks slightly. First sign of emotion. "I documented everything." "I know you did." Pride flashes in his eyes. He turns to face Thornton. "Vice Principal Thornton, I'm Commander James Cooper, United States Navy. This is my daughter." Thornton tries to recover his authority. "Sir, this is a school matter. We were just—" "You were assaulting my child." James's voice doesn't rise, doesn't need to. "On camera, with multiple witnesses. I wasn't— Your security guard had his hands on her without consent. You threatened to forcibly remove her from a public space. She's a minor who explicitly stated she was waiting for her parent." James's words are precise, legal. "Would you like to continue that sentence, or would you like to listen?" Thornton's mouth opens, closes. He looks at Patterson, who's gone pale. The students are dead silent. Phones still recording, but nobody's laughing now. The energy has completely shifted. Brandon stands frozen. Tyler won't meet anyone's eyes. Dylan has moved to the back of the group. Jake's live stream has 3,000 viewers now. The comments are flying. "Oh shit, that's a seal. This just got real. Those medals don't lie." James hasn't raised his voice once. He doesn't need to. His presence commands the space. Captain Martinez steps forward. Martinez's voice is crisp, professional, courtroom trained. "I'm Captain Sarah Martinez, Judge Advocate General's Corps, United States Navy. I'm here in both my military capacity and as legal counsel for the Cooper family." She opens her leather folder. Inside are printed documents, photographs, timestamps, everything organized with military precision. "Commander Cooper has documented 17 separate incidents of racial harassment against his daughter over the past 6 months. She pulls out a stapled report, all of which were reported to school administration, none of which received adequate response. Thornton's face drains of color. "I don't know what you're talking about." October 15th. Martinez reads from the file. "Madison reported her locker vandalized with spray paint reading Diversity Hire. She submitted a written complaint to your office. You filed it under pranks." She flips a page. October 29th. Madison reported being excluded from study groups and called racial slurs by 3 students. You told her she was being too sensitive. Another page. November 7th. Someone carved "affirmative action bitch" into her locker. She provided photos. You suggested she was damaging school property for attention. "That's not— I didn't—" Thornton stammers. "You signed the incident reports." Martinez holds them up. "Your signature, your handwriting, your dismissals." She turns to Torres. He steps forward with his tablet. "Today's incident brings us to 18. Martinez's voice gets colder. "Which means we've crossed the threshold for federal investigation under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act." Dr. Torres pulls up a video on his tablet. It's Jake's TikTok, the one showing Brandon attacking Madison. Sound on. Everyone can hear the racial slur, see the assault, watch the blood. "This video has been viewed over 15,000 times in the last 30 minutes, Torres says. "It's currently trending on 3 social media platforms. Most importantly, it was emailed to my office at the Department of Defense Education Activity at 2:45 this afternoon." He looks at Thornton. 15 minutes before Commander Cooper arrived. He filed the formal complaint through military channels 2 months ago. My team has been conducting a quiet review of Westbridge Academy since then. The hallway is completely silent. Even the live stream comments have slowed as people process what they're hearing. Madison's father didn't just show up, he built a case. For 2 months. While his daughter endured harassment, he was documenting, filing paperwork, engaging the federal government. Brandon's face is white. Your dad is what?" James turns to him. His voice is quiet, dangerous. "Going to make this go away? Call his lawyers? Donate to the building fund?" He steps closer to Brandon, not threatening, just present. "Son, your dad's lawyers don't outrank federal civil rights investigators, and his money doesn't mean anything to the Department of Defense." Brandon takes a step back. 3:05 p.m. Thornton tries one more time to regain control. Commander, I understand you're upset. I'm sure we can discuss this privately in my office. No. James's response is immediate. Privacy is what allowed this to continue. My daughter was publicly humiliated. We're addressing this publicly. Torres clears his throat. Mr. Thornton, when was the last time you reviewed Westbridge's federal funding sources? I don't handle the financial side. Then let me educate you. Torres taps his tablet. Numbers appear on screen. Westbridge Academy currently receives $2.3 million annually from the Department of Defense. The number lands like a bomb. That's 18% of your operating budget, Torres continues. This funding is designated for educating military dependents. You currently have 17 students enrolled whose parents serve in the United States Armed Forces. Thornton's eyes widen. I wasn't aware. You weren't aware that nearly 1/5 of your budget comes from DoD? Torres's voice sharpens. Or you weren't aware that funding is conditional? He swipes to another screen. Federal funding for military-dependent education requires strict compliance with anti-discrimination policies. Schools must maintain safe learning environments for all military children. They must investigate and address complaints promptly and thoroughly. Torres looks up. Madison Cooper filed complaints 17 times in 6 months. 17 documented incidents ignored by your administration. This doesn't meet the threshold for prompt and thorough. Martinez picks up the thread. My investigation revealed a pattern, not just with Madison, with all 17 military students at Westbridge. She pulls out another document. We surveyed them confidentially. 89% report feeling unwelcome or treated differently than civilian students. All 17 reported witnessing or experiencing some form of discrimination. 34 formal complaints filed in the last 18 months. 34 complaints. James repeats slowly. From 17 students. That's 2 complaints per student, and your administration dismissed every single one. Thornton looks like he might be sick. Torres delivers the final blow. As of today, Westbridge Academy is under federal review. Pending the outcome of that review, your DoD funding is frozen. If we determine systemic failure to protect military dependents, that funding will be permanently revoked. The math is simple. $2.3 million. Gone. That means faculty cuts, program eliminations, tuition increases. The school board wasn't informed of this review, Torres adds, because we wanted to see how your administration responded to incidents without outside pressure. Today's events answer that question definitively. Martinez looks at the students still filming. Let me be clear for everyone watching. This isn't about one incident. This is about institutional failure, a pattern of discrimination that the administration knew about and chose to ignore. She turns back to Thornton. You knew Madison was being harassed. You had documentation. You had photo evidence. You had witness statements, and you did nothing. Worse than nothing. You blamed her. James steps forward one more time. His voice is quiet, but everyone hears it. My daughter isn't just a Navy dependent. She's a straight-A student who scored in the 98th percentile on placement exams. She earned her spot in AP classes through merit, through hard work. His eyes move from Thornton to Brandon to the crowd. But you decided what she was worth the moment you saw her skin color. You decided she didn't belong. You decided her complaints didn't matter. He pauses. Now you'll answer to the Department of Education, the Department of Defense, your school board, and if necessary, a federal civil rights lawsuit. The hallway is frozen. Brandon has tears in his eyes. Tyler is shaking. Dylan looks like he wants to disappear. Patterson has backed away completely. Thornton can't speak. His career is over and he knows it. The live stream hits 5,000 viewers. Nobody moves. 3:45 p.m. Emergency session convened. The Westbridge Academy boardroom smells like old leather and older money. Oil paintings of founders line the walls. Men in suits from centuries past stare down with stern faces. 11 board members sit around a mahogany table. Most arrived within 30 minutes of the emergency call. Some still wear golf clothes. Others came straight from Manhattan offices. Catherine Hartwell sits near the head of the table. Brandon's mother. Plastic surgery and Pilates. Diamond earrings that cost more than most cars. Her face is tight with barely controlled rage. Principal Elizabeth Hayes stands at the front. She drove 2 hours at dangerous speeds to get here. She's still wearing her conference lanyard. Commander Cooper sits across from the board. Captain Martinez to his left, Dr. Torres to his right, and Madison sits beside her father. James insisted she be present. She has every right to hear this, he said when a board member objected. Torres connects his tablet to the projection screen. Numbers fill the wall. Current DoD funding to Westbridge Academy, $2,347,000 annually. That represents 18.3% of your operating budget. He clicks to the next slide. Federal investigation findings. 34 formal complaints of discrimination filed by military dependents over 18 months. 0 complaints resulted in disciplinary action. 0 complaints triggered policy reviews. Click. Legal exposure under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. Estimated damages between $8 and $12 million if the Cooper family pursues civil litigation. Catherine Hartwell interrupts. This is extortion. Martinez doesn't look up from her notes. Mrs. Hartwell, extortion is demanding money through threats. We're informing you of legal consequences for civil rights violations. There's a difference. Torres continues. The Connecticut Human Rights Commission was notified this morning. They've opened a separate state-level investigation. That process is independent of federal review. Click. A new slide appears. Financial projections. If DoD funding is revoked, Westbridge will need to make the following cuts to maintain current operations. 8 faculty positions eliminated. 2 sports programs discontinued. The planned science lab renovation canceled. AP course offerings reduced by 30%. The board members shift uncomfortably. One clears his throat. Can we appeal the funding decision? Yes, Torres says. Appeals take 18 to 24 months, during which time the funding remains frozen. Can Westbridge operate for 2 years without this revenue? Silence. Hayes speaks for the first time. No, we cannot. We'd need to raise tuition by $6,000 per student immediately. We'd lose enrollment. It would create a downward spiral. Martinez opens her folder. Beyond finances, there's reputational damage. Today's incident has been viewed over 50,000 times across social media platforms. The hashtag Westbridge racism is trending in Connecticut and New York. She places printouts on the table, screenshots of comments, news articles already being written, think pieces about privilege and private schools. 5 families have withdrawn applications for next year's incoming class. These are families who've been Westbridge legacy admits for generations. They're choosing other schools because they've seen how this administration handles discrimination. A board member Madison doesn't recognize speaks up. What about our largest donors? Dylan, your single largest annual contributor, called my office 1 hour ago. Hayes's voice is strained. He donates $500,000 per year. He's a black entrepreneur who made his fortune in biotech. He's suspending all contributions pending resolution of this matter. Catherine Hartwell stands. This is absurd. My son is being vilified for a schoolyard incident. Your son committed assault, James says quietly. On camera, using a racial slur. That's not a schoolyard incident. That's a hate crime. He's 17 years old. My daughter is 15. James's voice doesn't rise. And she's been enduring this for 6 months while adults did nothing. James stands. The room's attention shifts to him completely. I don't want your money. His voice is calm, absolute. I want systemic change. My daughter deserves to learn without fear. Every child in this building deserves that. He nods to Martinez. She distributes printed packets to each board member. 12 pages, professionally bound, tab dividers for each section. These are our terms, James says. Non-negotiable conditions for us not to pursue federal civil rights litigation. The board members flip through the pages. Their faces grow increasingly pale. Immediate actions within 48 hours, Martinez reads aloud. 1. Vice Principal Richard Thornton resigns or is terminated. 2. Public apology issued by school administration. 3. Brandon Hartwell suspended pending formal disciplinary hearing. 4. All students who participated in today's assault face academic consequences, including removal from honors track for 1 semester. Catherine Hartwell slams her hand on the table. You cannot punish my son. Your son is on video committing assault, Martinez continues without pausing. He's fortunate we're not pressing criminal charges. Yet, she continues reading. 30-day implementations, mandatory anti-bias training for all faculty, 8 hours, external consultants, non-negotiable attendance, revised discrimination reporting system with third-party oversight. Diversify hiring to achieve minimum 30% BIPOC faculty within 18 months. You currently have 7%. A board member interrupts. 30% is the demographic reality of Connecticut, Torres finishes. It's not a quota. It's a reflection of the community you claim to serve. Martinez reads on. 90-day structural changes. Anonymous bias reporting application for students, monthly equity audits with discipline data disaggregated by race, zero tolerance policy for verified incidents of discrimination. 1 strike and you're under investigation. 2 strikes and you're expelled. No exceptions for legacy families or major donors. Several board members shift uncomfortably at that last part. Scholarship fund of $100,000 annually for underrepresented students, Martinez continues. 100,000? A board member looks shocked. Dr. Williams alone donated $500,000 per year, Hayes reminds them quietly. $100,000 is 20% of what we just lost, and it's an investment in the diversity this school desperately needs. Martinez reaches the final page. Long-term accountability measures, annual external equity reviews with public reporting, no internal whitewashing, board diversity requirement of minimum 4 BIPOC members. You currently have 1. Comprehensive curriculum review to integrate racial justice education across all subjects. She closes the packet. These terms are designed to create lasting institutional change, not just public relations, not just damage control, actual transformation of how Westbridge operates. James steps forward. You have a choice. Comply fully and we don't file suit. We work with you to rebuild. We allow Westbridge to become a model for how schools can transform after crisis. His voice hardens slightly. Or refuse, and we proceed with litigation. The Department of Defense pulls funding within 60 days. The Connecticut Human Rights Commission pursues state charges, and we file federal civil rights violations in district court. He pauses. Discovery alone will destroy you. Every email, every dismissed complaint, every closed-door conversation about keeping certain students out. It will all become public record. The board members look at each other. Some stare at the table. Others flip through the terms again. Catherine Hartwell stands. I vote no. This is coercion. My family will not be... Your family filmed themselves committing a hate crime. James interrupts. What happens next is your choice, but it won't be kept quiet. That option ended when your son posted to social media. 4:30 p.m. Principal Hayes calls for a vote. All in favor of accepting the terms as presented? Hands rise slowly. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 9. Catherine Hartwell sits with her arms crossed. One other board member, a real estate developer whose daughter is friends with Brandon, also votes no 9-2. The terms pass. Hayes turns to James. We accept. All conditions. Full compliance. Catherine Hartwell grabs her purse and storms out. The door slams behind her. Hayes continues. I want to say something. I was unaware of the extent of these complaints. That's not an excuse. It's a failure. Administrative structure allowed Thornton to handle discipline without oversight. That structure failed Madison. It failed every military student here. It failed every marginalized student who needed protection. She looks directly at Madison. I failed you. Every adult in this building failed you. That changes today. I take full responsibility. I will personally oversee implementation of every term in this agreement. You have my word. Madison nods slightly. She doesn't speak. Doesn't need to. Hayes pulls out her phone. Thornton will be notified tonight that his employment is terminated effective immediately. His office will be locked within the hour. His access to all school systems revoked. She makes a call. Security answers. Lock Vice Principal Thornton's office. Change the access codes. He's no longer employed here. Another call. This one to Catherine Hartwell's cell. Mrs. Hartwell, this is Principal Hayes. Brandon is suspended for the remainder of the semester pending a full disciplinary hearing. You'll receive official notification by email within the hour. His transcript will reflect the suspension. She hangs up without waiting for a response. Torres taps his tablet. I'll notify the Department of Defense that Westbridge is cooperating fully with federal requirements. The funding freeze will remain in place pending 90-day review. If progress is satisfactory, funding will be restored. Martinez adds, We'll want quarterly meetings to review implementation. Commander Cooper and I will attend personally. This isn't a one-time intervention. This is ongoing accountability. Hayes nods. Understood. We'll establish a timeline and benchmarks for every requirement. James stands. He extends his hand to Hayes. She shakes it. Principal Hayes, I believe you want to do the right thing. Prove it. Make Westbridge a place where every child can learn safely. I will, Hayes says. You have my word. James turns to Madison. You ready to go home, Princess? Yes, sir. They walk toward the door. Martinez and Torres follow. As they reach the hallway, Hayes calls out, Madison? Madison turns. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. You deserve better from all of us. Madison looks at her for a long moment. Then she says, Don't apologize to me. Fix it for the students who come after me. She walks out with her father. Behind them, the board members sit in stunned silence. In 48 hours, Westbridge Academy will be a different place. Whether it's better depends entirely on what happens next. Day 1, Tuesday. Vice Principal Thornton's office is dark, the nameplate removed. His 23 years at Westbridge ended with one phone call and a severance package that includes a non-disclosure agreement. He doesn't fight it. He knows what's on those videos. Brandon Hartwell doesn't return to school. His parents meet with the board. The decision is quick. Brandon will finish junior year at a private academy in Massachusetts, far from cameras, far from consequences. His public apology is posted to the school website. 3 paragraphs, clearly lawyer-written. Words like regret and poor judgment, but never racism or assault. Madison reads it once, doesn't comment. Actions matter more than words. She returns Tuesday morning. Her father drives her, walks her to the entrance, doesn't leave until she's inside. The hallway goes quiet when she enters. Some students stare, others look away. Then something unexpected happens. A girl from AP History starts clapping. Slow at first, then faster. 3 more join, then 10, then 20. Not everyone, maybe 40%. But it's something. Acknowledgement, support. Proof that not everyone sided with Brandon. Some students still glare. Whisper when she passes. Change isn't instant. But it's different. The open cruelty has retreated. Fear of consequences works. Day 2, Wednesday emergency assembly. Every student required. Principal Hayes stands at the podium. Behind her on screen, the video, Jake's TikTok, the assault, the blood, Thornton's response. Hayes doesn't hide from shame. This is who we were, she says. This is what we allowed. This is what happened when adults failed. She introduces Dr. Keisha Williams, black woman, PhD in education, Westbridge's new Director of Student Equity. Dr. Williams speaks for 30 minutes, no sugarcoating. She names what happened: racism, assault, institutional failure. Some of you are uncomfortable right now, Dr. Williams says. Good. Discomfort means growth. Change requires confronting what we've ignored. First mandatory bias training happens that afternoon. Some students engage seriously. Others sit with arms crossed, resistant. But they're there. They're listening. It's a start. Day 3, Thursday. The anonymous reporting app goes live. Students can report bias without revealing identity. Third-party monitoring. Immediate response protocol. Within 6 hours, 23 reports filed. The floodgates open. Not just racial issues. Homophobia, anti-Semitism, sexual harassment, classism, ableism. The reports reveal scope. Westbridge wasn't just failing Madison, it was failing dozens of students. Hayes reads every report that evening. She doesn't sleep. By morning, she understands the full scale of what they've ignored. Local news covers the story. Private school faces reckoning after viral assault video. The headline spreads. Other schools watch. Some with fear, others with curiosity. Can institutions actually change? Westbridge will find out. Week 1, 2. Faculty training external consultants arrive from Teaching Tolerance, a Southern Poverty Law Center program. 8-hour workshops. Mandatory attendance. No exceptions. Training covers unconscious bias, microaggressions, restorative justice, trauma-informed teaching, role-playing exercises, uncomfortable conversations, real scenarios from Westbridge's own history. 3 teachers resign rather than participate. 1 submits his letter during lunch. 2 others quit by week's end. Principal Hayes accepts their resignations immediately. If you're unwilling to learn, you shouldn't be teaching. Post-training surveys show divided responses. 78% rate it eye-opening. 15% call it unnecessary. 7% find it offensive. The 7% are watched carefully going forward. New hires replace those who left. The search prioritizes diversity. 2 black teachers, 1 Latina, all highly qualified, all committed to equity. Week 2, 3, curriculum changes. Curriculum review committee works overtime. AP History expands to include more diverse perspectives, not just during Black History Month, integrated throughout the year. English department adds Toni Morrison, James Baldwin, Maya Angelou. Classic literature remains, but the canon expands. Students read voices reflecting America's actual diversity. Science classes address historical racism in medicine. Tuskegee experiments. Henrietta Lacks, eugenics. How bias shaped research and harmed communities. Even math word problems change. Names become more diverse. Cultural contexts vary, small shifts signaling who belongs. History teacher creates new unit. Documentation as resistance. Students study how marginalized groups used evidence to fight injustice. Photos from civil rights era. Videos from Black Lives Matter. Court documents from landmark cases. Madison guest lectures. Shows her documentation methods. Timestamps. Screenshots. Written complaints. How she built an undeniable case. Students take notes. Some look inspired, others uncomfortable. All are learning. Week 3. 4. Structural Reform Student Equity Council forms. 12 students elected by peers. Monthly meetings with administration. Real input on policy. Madison is elected as founding member, not president. She serves as secretary, takes detailed notes, ensures accountability. First council meeting addresses discipline disparities. Dr. Williams presents data. Black students disciplined at 4 times the rate of white students for identical infractions. 4 times. The numbers don't lie. Council demands policy review. Hayes agrees immediately. By month's end, new discipline matrix implemented. Clear guidelines, objective criteria, no more subjective calls that fall harder on students of color. Week 4. Physical changes, hallways transform. New murals celebrating diverse changemakers. Scientists, artists, leaders, activists. Library expands diverse voices section from one shelf to entire corner. New books arrive weekly. Faculty photos now include pronouns and languages spoken, small details creating belonging. Safe space stickers appear on doors, teachers who completed advanced ally training. Madison walks past a mural of Ida B. Wells. Quote underneath, "The way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them." She stops, reads it twice, thinks about documentation, evidence, truth. That's how you win. Madison didn't win with money. Her family isn't wealthy. Commander Cooper's military salary is public record. It doesn't compete with hospital CEOs or tech executives. She didn't win through social status. No family name on donor plaques. No legacy connections. She won through documentation. Every incident recorded, every complaint filed, every response documented. 6 months of evidence that couldn't be denied. Her father taught her patience is power. That systems have rules, that rules become weapons if you know how to use them. Brandon had money and status, parents who expected problems to disappear, teachers who looked away, a school that protected him. Madison had proof. The contrast is stark. Brandon at his new school, reputation following him. Social media doesn't forget. His name links to the assault video. It will follow him to college applications, job interviews. Madison remains at Westbridge, respected, not because people fear her father, because she earned it through grace under pressure. Her AP history project, the one Brandon destroyed, she rewrote, better than before, more detailed, more personal. She added a section about her own experience, highest grade in class. Teacher nominates it for state competition. It wins 2nd place and scholarship money. 3 younger students of color join honors programs next semester. They cite Madison as inspiration. Diversity in advanced classes increases 27% within 1 year. James gives an interview to local newspaper. Reporter asks about his military service. "I've been in combat," James says. "Faced enemy fire in dangerous places. But watching my daughter face racism in a place that should nurture her was harder." He pauses. "She taught me something. The strongest weapon isn't violence. It's integrity. Madison never compromised her dignity. Not when they mocked her, not when they hurt her, not when everyone told her to be quiet. She refused. The reporter writes it down. Quote becomes headline, Navy SEAL dad, daughter's courage surpasses combat veterans. Madison reads it, shakes her head, smiles. She's not a hero. She's a student who refused to accept injustice. Sometimes that's enough. March 2025, 6 months post-incident. The numbers tell the story. Discrimination reports, from 34 ignored complaints over 18 months to 147 reports filed and addressed in 6 months. The system is working. Students trust it now. Resolution rate, 89% of reports resolved within 2 weeks. Not perfect, but exponentially better than zero. Discipline disparity, gap reduced from 4 times to 1.8 times. Still work to do, but progress is measurable. Real. Faculty diversity, from 7% to 19% BIPOC teachers, still working toward 30% goal. New hires continue prioritizing qualified diverse candidates. Student satisfaction, BIPOC students reporting they feel safe increased from 34% to 71%, more than doubled in 6 months. These aren't just numbers. They represent real change, real safety, real belonging. National attention follows. Education Week features Westbridge in a cover story. How private schools can transform after crisis. 3 other private schools in Connecticut request consultations. They want to implement similar programs before they face their own reckoning. The Department of Defense uses Westbridge as case study. Proactive response to civil rights complaints. Training materials for administrators at schools receiving military funding. Dr. Torres recommends DoD funding be restored. The review shows good faith effort, genuine commitment. Hayes and Dr. Williams have delivered on every promise. The funding returns, even increases slightly. Recognition of the hard work. Madison receives her college acceptance letters in April. Yale, early admission, 38% acceptance rate. She earned it. Her essay topic, How Documentation Defeats Discrimination. Admissions officers call it one of the most powerful essays they've read. Scholarship offers arrive from multiple organizations, military family foundations, civil rights groups, educational equity nonprofits. But Madison chooses to stay at Westbridge through graduation. I want to see this through, she tells her father. I want to make sure the changes stick. Unexpected alliances form. Some students who initially supported Brandon privately apologize to Madison. Not all, but some. One creates a documentary project for his senior thesis, What We Got Wrong at Westbridge. He interviews Madison, Dr. Williams, students from both sides. The documentary wins a regional student film award. It screens at the end-of-year assembly. Students watch themselves from 6 months ago. Some cry, others sit in uncomfortable silence. School culture slowly shifts. Calling out bias becomes socially acceptable, even expected. Students police each other now, not with cruelty, with accountability. A white student makes a racist joke in the cafeteria. 3 of his friends immediately shut it down. That's not funny. That's not who we are anymore. The student apologizes, genuinely. He's embarrassed. Should be. Madison watches from across the cafeteria. Doesn't intervene. Doesn't need to. The system is working. Students are learning. Change is happening without her constant presence. That's the goal. Sustainable transformation, not dependent on one person. Hayes checks in with Madison weekly. How are you? What can we improve? Madison provides feedback. Honest, specific. Hayes implements suggestions quickly. Trust is building. Slowly, but it's there. Madison's story spreads beyond Westbridge. Education activists amplify it. Social justice organizations share it. Military family advocates cite it. The hashtag evolves. Westbridge racism becomes Westbridge reform. The narrative shifts from outrage to possibility. From look how bad this is to look what's possible when institutions commit to change. Other military families come forward with similar stories, different schools, same patterns, discrimination, ignored complaints, administrative indifference. The Department of Defense launches comprehensive review of all civilian schools receiving military funding. 340 schools nationwide. Madison's complaint opened floodgates nobody knew existed. Many schools panic. Some immediately implement reforms. Others hire expensive consultants to make problems disappear on paper. But the DoD investigators know what to look for now. Thanks to Torres, thanks to the Westbridge case study, they can distinguish genuine change from public relations. Legal precedent forms. Connecticut state legislature introduces new bill. Media calls it Madison's Law, though that's not the official name. The bill requires all private schools receiving any public funding to maintain third-party bias reporting systems, publish annual equity audits, face financial penalties for ignoring discrimination complaints. Bill gains bipartisan support. Conservatives appreciate accountability. Progressives appreciate civil rights protections. It passes both chambers within 18 months of Madison's assault. Governor signs it at a public ceremony, invites Madison. She attends with her father. This young woman's courage changed policy, the governor says. She refused to be silent. She documented injustice. She demanded accountability. Connecticut is better because of her. Madison doesn't give a speech, doesn't want spotlight. She stands beside her father, lets the law speak for itself. James Cooper becomes advocate, testifies before Congressional Subcommittee on Military Family Education, partners with NAACP Education Justice Project, becomes voice for service members whose children face discrimination. We ask our military members to defend everyone's freedom, he tells Congress. The least we can do is ensure their children learn in dignity. Madison creates YouTube channel, Documenting While Black. Teaches other teens how to document discrimination legally, how to file complaints, how to build cases. Channel grows to 127,000 subscribers in 6 months. Videos include Know Your Rights at School, How to File Title VI Complaint, Building Your Evidence, When to Involve Lawyers. Comments section fills with stories. Teenagers nationwide facing similar situations. They're learning, documenting, fighting back with evidence instead of just anger. Madison responds to comments when she can, offers advice, connects students with resources, creates community. The movement grows, quietly. One documented incident at a time. One complaint properly filed. One case built with patience and proof. This is how systems change, not overnight, not with one viral video, but with sustained pressure, strategic action, refusal to accept injustice. The core message is clear. Preparation defeats prejudice. James taught Madison to document from day one, not because he expected assault, because he understood systems. He knew that complaints without evidence get dismissed, but evidence demands response. Systems over emotions. They used legal frameworks, federal regulations, Title VI protections, not just public outrage, not just social media pressure. They built a case that couldn't be ignored. Patience as power. 6 months of documentation was tedious, frustrating. Every day Madison wanted to fight back immediately, but her father taught her to wait, to build, to make the case undeniable. Timing mattered. If James had shown up without evidence, he's just an angry parent. With evidence, he's a federal complainant with standing, dignity as resistance. Madison never retaliated with Brandon's tactics, never returned cruelty for cruelty. She maintained composure, gathered papers, stayed calm. Her dignity was her weapon. Community over individualism. The reforms help everyone, not just Madison, not just military students. Every marginalized student at Westbridge benefits from the changes. The personal cost was real. Madison still has hard days. Therapy helps her process trauma. Some students still avoid her. Change makes people uncomfortable. She lost innocence about institutions. She learned that adults don't automatically protect children, that rules exist but aren't always enforced. That justice requires fighting for it. But she gained purpose, voice, proof that fighting back works when done strategically. Father-daughter relationship deepened. James says, I taught her to stand at attention. She taught me what courage really looks like. They have weekly strategy sessions now. Sacred time. They discuss her channel, her advocacy, her college plans. Madison teaches her father about social media activism. He teaches her about long-term institutional change, mutual learning, mutual respect, final reflection. Madison's words. Brittany thought crushing my papers would break me. Instead, it built me. Every page I picked up became evidence. Every witness who filmed became my proof. They wanted me silent. I became impossible to ignore. Madison's story isn't unique. It happens in schools, workplaces, public spaces every day. The question is, what will you do about it? Comment below. Have you or someone you know faced discrimination at school? Your voice matters. Silence protects perpetrators. Speaking up protects the next person. Know your rights. Title VI protections apply to all students in schools receiving federal funding. Document everything. Photos, videos, timestamps, witnesses, save communications. File complaints through proper channels. School boards, state education departments, Office for Civil Rights. Subscribe to Black Stories for more stories of quiet resistance and systemic change. Share this video. Let others know they're not alone. Follow Madison's advocacy work at Documenting While Black. change doesn't start with power. It starts with one person refusing to be silent. Be that person. Your documentation today could be someone else's justice tomorrow. Stand up, speak out, document everything.